We interrupt this broadcast to briefly plug the Enjoy an Album Patreon. If you like us and want more of us in your ears, then you can simply pay £5 a month and get 2 extra bonus episodes. Christopher, what else did I get?
Ad-free episodes. You don't need to listen to this shite.
That's right. Also, exclusive pre-show, pre-sale access to stuff, our live shows. I did it for my tour. Chris didn't organise it, couldn't, I don't think. But anyway, we get extra stuff. Also, you get access to the backlog of episodes. If you're all caught up somehow to all of the public episodes, there's like, how many Patreon ones now? Like,
What I say 15, but that'll increase.
15? You think there's only 15? We've been doing 2 a month for a year.
I don't know.
There's a lot
I
more
made
than
a
that.
collage of all of them once, and it was more than 15 now that I think about it.
Yeah, and that was a while ago. So there's been some since then too.
Give me some Patreon specials off the top of your head.
Hamilton.
Hamilton, The Darkness,
Yes, that was a good one.
Ed Sheeran.
Jerry Cinnamon.
Cherry Cinnamon more recently.
Jerry Sucker Balls. I'd give you an example of what we thought of that. So yeah, there's loads of stuff in there. It's £5 a month. The ultras are wonderful people. They sleep well at night. They have beautiful skin, and that is as a result of listening to 2 extra episodes of the podcast a month. So sign up now, patreon.com/enjoy an album. Hello and welcome to Enjoy an Album with Liam Withnow and Christopher MacArthur Boyd. This is the intro. I know what I want to talk about in this intro. This is Liam Withnow and Christopher MacArthur Boyd, aka, apparently, Beavis and Butt Problems.
Beavis and Butt Problems. From
A bit of context here, okay? I haven't spoken to you about this. This was crazy. Like, I remember I was walking home from the Stand Comedy Club after performing on a Friday night, as is my wont, and
feeling like a demon.
do you know what? It'd been a really good night, actually. I'd done 2 shows back to back. I was walking home. I just love... It's like just a really nice feeling, isn't it? Like you have a really good gig at your local club, and then you get to walk home and you have a good glow. You're just glowing. You're positively vibrating with the energy of the universe, right? And I put on some headphones. I thought, I'm going to listen to one of my friends' podcasts. So I put on What's the Script? Featuring Steve Buchanan and Stuart McPherson, a couple of good lads, or so I thought. And if you've never listened to What's the Script, basically they try and guess the plots of films they've never seen before. So on this particular episode, they were chatting about Oppenheimer, right?
Yeah.
And the first half of the episode is them trying to guess what the plots are. That was recorded way back in the Edinburgh Festival. And the second half of the episode was recorded in January or something. So I was listening to this in the middle of January. So I'm walking home, listening to a funny podcast about films, and what should I hear but a 6-month-old riff about me, where the 2 hosts of this podcast are making fun of my haircut at the Edinburgh Festival. Can you imagine how bizarre that is to experience? Just when you're just like putting on a podcast to relax, and suddenly you are the subject of the podcast host's ire.
It's not nice. I've been slagged off on a few podcasts. It's not nice.
I mean, I can't imagine how Barack Obama feels when he listens to this.
He's like, well on you.
So I thought...
Wipe my tears away.
that was quite weird, right? A bit of a unique experience. Not many people, realistically, a very small percentage of the people ever alive can say they've put on a podcast to accidentally hear themselves being slagged off.
Can you just reiterate the slagging and also why you think you were slagged off in that way?
Okay, so I've been growing my hair for a couple of years, and there came a period when I had long hair when I wasn't sure necessarily how to wear it in a fancy fashion, you know? Mm-hmm. Recently, I've learned the curly girl method is what works for me. That means using curly shampoo and... Anyway.
Wavy, but okay.
Well, it's called the curly girl method, though, regardless of the outcome. It's not called the wavy girl method. You don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, I didn't know this when I went to have my photo shoot for my Edinburgh Fringe, so I just straightened my hair, okay? So that's why on all my Fringe posters, which I'm still, I'm going on tour, still using the same posters, I have very straight hair.
Very straight.
Which I think probably wouldn't look weird if I just always wore my hair like that, but people are just so used to me wearing my hair up all the time, you know? that it's a bit jarring when you see someone. It's like, I don't know, if your fringe poster was you without glasses, it'd be like, what the fuck is that? You know?
You're right. I think if you're an advert for something, you should look like the thing that you're
This was my
advertising.
mistake, okay? But it was too late. I was there, my hair was straightened, I had these pictures, they went to print, and now I've got big billboards all over Edinburgh of me with straight hair, okay? I wasn't that happy with it, but
Yeah.
whatever, it's fine.
Big, shiny, straight hair that looks unusual for you to
Yes. Anyway, Stuart McPherson commented that he thought I looked like the Pokemon Jinx.
have. Yes.
So he said this to me. And look, listen, I can...
One of the best slaggins ever, because Jinx is quite an obscure Pokemon.
Listen, I like a laugh as much as the next guy.
I love to have a laugh. One of the best things you can have.
Hey, I'm fun, right? I'm a fun guy, and I'm not above having a light ribbing from a friend in public. Sure,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, sure.
So I remember Stuart said that to me, and we had a good laugh, right? I'm like, bloody hell, yeah, I guess I do look a bit like Jinx. Classic japes from you, Stu. And then 6 months later, I put on a podcast, and I hear him repeating the slagging to Stephen Buchanan, and them having a good old giggle fit for a few minutes. As I'm walking home, my good glow feeling completely dissipating. So that's bad enough. And then, but a week later, I'm on a train, travelling down south for gigs. We spend a lot of time on travel, you know?
Dude, I've been on tour this week. I've been sticking on What's the Script and some laugh
And it's
myself,
a nice way to
you know?
unwind on a long journey, you know?
Listening to your friends interview wrestlers and Phil Ellis is nothing better.
Absolutely.
Is there?
And imagine my shock when I open my podcast app and I see it's my good friend Christopher MacArthur Boyd as a guest on one of my favourite podcasts, Some Laugh. Wow. All of my good friends in one place. That itself is a unique experience that I get to have. There's a parasocial relationship with podcasts whereby you kind of feel like you're in the room with the host and you end up feeling like they're friends, even though it's very one-way traffic. Well, with me, it's not one-way traffic. These are my friends. I'm just listening to them having a fun conversation. Wow, what a delightful experience. And then I listen, and once again I find that I am the subject of a mockery.
No, we love you, and you know that's how men. Listen, I don't want to talk about men's mental health, but because it's so important, I don't want to dilute it. But men do be like that, you know.
And this in this instance, you were referring to me and you as Beavis and butt problems, and you were suggesting that in the future I might have a robot anus installed to fix my disability. I think
is that not fun for you?
Well,
to hear
it's
that?
I guess it is. You know, you speak about this. So it is a man, like it is a way of how men bond, isn't it? By sort of, ribbing each other. They're normally in the room, though. You know.
But we know you're going to hear it eventually.
So
it's like if someone posted in the Edinburgh's comedian performers group about someone else, they know that that's going to get to them eventually.
Wow, Christopher is giving a little reference to a little bit of drama that's happened within the Edinburgh Scottish comedy community that I'm certainly not going to speak about any further, but...
Fantastic. But,
Woo!
we're just making each other laugh. We're just having
good
a
time.
laugh.
So,
There's nothing wrong with having a good some laugh, you know?
listen, that I just wanted to get it off my chest.
So do you want to slag off Steve and Stu just
No,
now?
I would never do that.
I think Stu would hear. I think Stu would
that
hear it. Maybe.
No, I don't want to do that. I think that's... I think that would be petty.
Stephen Buchanan drinks tea like a cat. And
the only person I'm comfortable slagging off on this podcast is Roscoe.
Yeah, he gets it pretty tight.
As he should.
He says he's going to kick my head in if we do one more podcast, and I had to break it to him that I'm going to do loads of podcasts probably.
Strange little goblin sex boy. So,
it's getting a lot hornier these days, and it's really disconcerting.
Listen, we've got a bit of a different episode this week.
If you haven't noticed. This is a fucking airing of grievances.
Yeah,
over
that's
here,
it.
man.
We've got a list together. No, it's going to be a bit of a different episode this week. Basically, Christopher and I have both been on tour the last few weeks. It's been pretty crazy. Yeah. So I've got a bit of a chilled, laid back. We're going to do some music news. We're going to talk about some of the new releases we've been listening to recently. Little album nuggets.
We're experimenting with a new format.
Sexually. We're trying new things. It's always good, especially now you're in your 30s.
Phoning up Roscoe, see what he's had tattooed on him recently. A copy of that.
And then go, that actually seems illegal. I'm not going to do that. So it's like enjoying an album after dark, you know, with.
I think that's happened before. I think we've said something like that before.
That was the potential name for a format that we spoke about, but have never actually done publicly.
Oh, but this is that.
Well, maybe enjoy an album after dark. I'm just spitballing. That as is the very nature of after dark content. If you're listening in the daytime, that's fine. It's dark in your brain.
You're about to take a one-way trip to nighttime world.
We're going to say he's asleep. So enjoy the episode, and we'll see you after the sting. And love you lots.
Yeah, welcome to Johnny March.
You're listening to Enjoy an Album, the podcast where two comedians listen to some of the greatest albums of all time.
Welcome back to Enjoy an Album After Dark.
After Dark.
It's the two boys. We're hanging and banging as per. We're not covering one album this week. We're going to do a few different things. We're going to chat about a few different little...
We're pulling out and we're cooling out.
Absolutely. So, first thing to chat about, which is pretty exciting for us, is we have been nominated for...
We are coming up in the world, man.
A Chortle Comedy Award for Best Podcast. WTF. That's crazy, isn't it?
With WTF with Mark Maron is not nominated.
Yes. So that's pretty cool, isn't it? I mean, so that's a few things we've had recently. We were in the list top 100 at number 11, the Hot 100.
Just missed top 10.
I don't know if you know this, but the List magazine actually printed it something again this week, saying like podcast of the week about us. They did. Those boys love us and girls.
Yeah, thank you to the List. Thank you to the List, boys and
girls. And
girls.
then Chortle put us in their nominated for Best Podcast at the Chortle Awards. Pretty cool. And Christopher was nominated for Best Club Comedian at the Chortle Awards.
Yes.
Also, we should explain Chortle to the listeners.
Because
Chortle is
if you're not in the comedy industry, you might be like, what is that? Is that good? Is that cool?
No, it's not. It's a blog run by an incel. But there's, awards are nice.
Yeah, sure. Steve's alright. I was so excited at the Fringe because I finally got a 4-star review from Chortle, which is quite hard to get. Do you know what I mean?
I got one as well,
and then you got one as well. Whatever. And I got one for a straight stand-up show, which is very difficult compared to awards bait, as some people call it. Not accusing you of anything. Your show's fantastic and has features many.
Did you not have to leave
comedians.
5 minutes in to because you were crying so much during my show? I remember that.
I was unrelated.
Was it?
I needed a shite and I was crying. Yeah.
Which is that's the tagline of my show.
Imagine sitting next to yeah, that's the tagline of your life. I can't. I was sitting next to Tatty McLeod. Imagine if she saw me crying and then I left and then I came back and she was like, "Oh, what happened?" I was like, "I had to go for a shit."
Did you go for a shit? No, you didn't.
I just cried outside and came back in, and I cried afterwards.
I was so shocked when I was on stage and you were sat there, and I didn't see that you were crying, so I just saw that you left after 5 minutes. I thought, that rude motherfucker has pretended to come to my show, and then he's gone for like a phone call with his agent or something.
He's gone for a wig.
he's just gone to jack off.
He's jacking off.
He's so horny.
He can't handle it. Stood next to Steve Bigier guy. Has to go jack off.
Anyway, we've been nominated.
By Chortle, and I'll just say I got a 4-star review. I was delighted, and then the next day, one of the most prolific, infamous sexual criminals in comedy,
which is a high
who
bar,
has-
by the way.
so hard to do. They got a 4-star for their I'm back and I'm not raping anybody anymore type show. And I was just like, oh, fuck off, Steve. But now he's nominated me for Best Club Comedian, which I'm not a club comedian. That's a classist thing. None of the people who are nominated are really
What do you
club
mean? You are a
comedians,
club
they?
comedian. You gig in clubs all the time.
I gig in comedy clubs all the time. But
There,
it's a very it's a classist thing.
yes, but there is a delineation between.
Susie McCabe got nominated. She plays the King's Theatre regularly. She just tours. She's been on
Sure,
Question Time.
sure.
She's been on Live at the Apollo. Kerry Pritchard McLean tours theatres constantly. Directs fringe shows. Fucking has a radio show in Wales. Does Live at the Apollo. All this type of stuff. How are they club comedians? They're fucking proper. Not that club comedians aren't proper comedians, but you know this type of awards should go for people who are fucking
In the clubs.
in the clubs, in the fucking
Yeah. But
it just means you have an accent as you're a club comedian, and it feels shite that.
I
being
think
a
I think
different
it's fair enough saying that you're a club comic though, because
Yeah, because I'm shite. But
You're-
other
'cause
people who've
you're
been
in the
nominated
clubs.
are.
you're up in the club
I'm
with
in
50
the
Cent, you know. Bottle full of bub, my mind got what I
Lollipop.
need. I want to have sex, but I end up making love. Come give me a hug.
I ain't into making love. Is that what it is? I ain't into making love, so come give me a hug.
Yeah, do you know what?
No, I think you're
I'm
right.
not actually gonna sit here right now and claim 100% accuracy on 50 Cent lyrics from 20 years ago. For sure, you ain't gonna get me on that
assumed
one,
it
Chris.
was.
Okay. I see the little trap that you're
assumed
laying
it
for me,
was.
and you have to get up pretty early in the morning to get me.
I ain't into making love, so come give me a hug. I thought he was like asexual or something, and he wasn't interested
Did you
in
think 50
shagging.
Cent is asexual? Are you kidding? He's like a
I think he's an
walking,
ace
throbbing
legend.
cock. In the
No.
club, 50 Cent.
Welcome to Enjoy It All.
Lyrics. I'll tell you right.
We should do 50 Cent, and we should review Blood in the Sand, the video game he done for the PS2.
So come give me a hug. I'm into having sex. I ain't into making love. I'm into having sex. I ain't into making love. So come give me a hug.
So come give
if
me a
you're into
hug.
getting rubbed. So he
Whoa.
wants to dry hump people, but that is counter. That goes against what he
No, I
said a
think
moment
he's-
ago.
I think he's manually frotting people there. I think he's touching them,
Find me in the
rubbing
club.
them.
Bottle full of bub. It says bub, short for bubbly. I
Yeah.
always assumed it was Bud, as in Budweiser.
Yeah, that's what he's bragging about, having a good old ice cold bottle of the King of Beers.
Come over to me. I've got a bottle of Budweiser if you want a sip.
Bub, wise.
A little bit of the bubbly.
A little bit of the bubbly. You can't quote that, Chris.
Who else has been nominated for the Chortle Awards? And tell me if
For the podcast
tell me if
stuff?
you've ever listened to these. So we have Three Bean Salad with Mike Wozniak, Ben Partridge, and Henry Packer.
Henry Baker's cool,
Baker.
man. Big. I'm a big.
I don't.
Packer head.
I know Wozniak. I don't really know these other dudes. I don't know their podcast. Is it? Do you know it?
Never listened to it, but a big Henry fan.
All right.
He's really good. I don't know if you've ever seen him.
What's
do
the fo-
stand-up.
what's-
He writes for Michael McIntyre, and his stuff is like really well constructed shit.
Okay.
Really
Born
funny.
Yesterday with Alexander Bennett and Andy Barr. I know Bennett from years
Yeah, I met
ago.
him
He's been around for donkeys.
from years ago.
Yeah, well, he's like me. He's been around for fucking ever. Do you know what I mean? He's just like a good act who's just been around for ages.
Yeah.
Yeah. Born Yesterday.
I know
Do you
Bennett,
reckon
yeah.
that's a Beatles themed podcast, or it's just like a vaguely
I think it's.
past themed?
I think it's getting to do with Yesterday by the Beatles, as made
Do you
famous
think
in
it's
the Mr. Bean
Bjorn
film.
Yesterday and it's an ABBA Beatles pod mashup?
That would be good. I think it's like, hey, listen, I wasn't born yesterday. Maybe it's like, oh, if you were born yesterday, this is me, obviously. This is kind of like, what's the script for a podcast?
Yeah,
What's
but
the
we're never
pod?
going to find out the answer.
What's the born yesterday? I don't know. I don't know what that could be.
Where there's a will, there's a wake with Kathy Burke. Wait, the Kathy Burke?
The Kathy Burke, a.k.a. Fred and Perry.
We're not beating her. She's winning. She's Kathy Burke.
She's...
Have you ever
yeah,
seen
she's
Neil by
really
Mouth
good.
with her and Ray Winston? Directed by Gary Oldman.
Neil by Mouth? No.
Oh my god.
That sounds good.
So Gary Oldman had a very traumatic upbringing, and it's about it's kind of like a semi-autobiographical.
His sister's Little Mo and the EastEnders.
And it's a kitchen sink drama, and I mean kitchen sink. It is Ray Winston beating the fuck out of Kathy Burke for 2 hours. It is heavy going. Beautiful movie.
Yeah.
And then there's Northern News with Amy Gledhill and Ian Smith, who I know both of them. Very funny. So it's actually
Very funny.
It's a pretty strong category. So if we win, we have to celebrate somehow.
Are you going to go down? You going to go down?
To the Chortle Comedy Awards. Unfortunately,
Yes.
I'm performing in Red Car that evening, so I won't be able to make it.
Red Car?
Yes, it's near.
What's that?
It's like near Hull, I think. The Laughing Pug Comedy Club. You never heard of it, bro?
Who books that?
A pug.
A
Pug
little
with a
demon with breathing
great
problems.
sense of humour.
Big pair of
So
balls.
unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to make it down to the Industry Wank Fest. It will be the Chortle Comedy Awards live.
I would
final.
love to meet Kathy Burke.
I don't think she's going to be there.
No.
So no. By the time this episode comes out, voting will have closed. So nothing else you can do about it as fans, other than fingers crossed. See if we win. If we don't, maybe post some hate mail to Steve Bennett.
Please firebomb Steve Bennett's house. I want that cunt's bedroom to be like Dresden, okay? I want someone who's in Steve Bennett's basement to write the next Slaughterhouse 5 about the experience of surviving the Enjoy an Album firebombing campaign on Steve Bennett's house. That's all I'm going to say.
No, you just don't give the game away too much. Just so it goes.
If you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. If you're picking
So
up
it
what I'm
goes
putting
for
down.
sure. Asterix.
So
he's a real Asterix. Hold that guy.
So we should explain as well why this is not the usual album catch up and it's just two boys just chatting in the way that we do. We've both been away doing crazy stuff.
You went to Zurich to perform stand up.
One country I didn't go to. I went.
I kept this. If you're listening to this and you're wondering why I'm saying that, well, we Rye smile and he's laughing. It's because I thought he did a tour of Europe and I thought he was going to Zurich and I just thought that was so cool to go to Zurich and do stand up there. So I kept saying to people, he's going to Zurich. That's so cool, isn't it? And they were like, that is cool. And then you kept saying it wasn't. So I've been saying it.
It's not with Zurich. I tell you what, I went to Amsterdam, Eindhoven, Lisbon. Lisboa,
Wow.
what me and the locals call it. Athens.
Pasta Dignata country.
And Oslo.
That's two places that were featured in Yorgos Lanthimos'
Poor Things.
brilliant non-Scottish film, Poor Things.
Yes, I ate 4 pasta dignatas in one day and felt very sick. I went to...
Did you? Did you feel bad?
Yeah, I ate 3 in a row. And, I mean, look, have you been to Portugal?
I've been to Nando's.
Right.
Have you been to Nando's?
First off, Nando's is actually South African. They just have acquired a Portuguese aesthetic.
What? What are we talking about? Is that true?
Yes.
It's not a South African restaurant.
It's
It's owned by South Africa, but if a South African company started the Chosen chain of Asian noodle bars that are in service stations, that
Peri
would
Peri
still be
chicken is not a Portuguese invention. It's a South African invention.
But is this like, I don't want to get too political, but is this like how currywurst is like a Turkish invention? It's like an Ottoman
Nando's is a South
invention?
African multinational fast casual chain that specialises in, it says, Portuguese flame grilled peri peri style chicken. But I was sat with some Portuguese people in Oslo the other day who were chatting shit about Nando's. And they were saying it's not Portuguese at all. So that's straight from the horse's mouth.
That really fucks me up.
Yeah. Anyway, I went to the Pasta Dignata place in Lisboa Square, and I bought 6 to share amongst the other people I was touring with. I thought would be nice, but then I sat and ate 3, one after another, and they're big. The OG ones. I'm not talking about your Nando's Pastel Dignatas. Okay.
What are you talking about? As if because they're authentic, they're bigger. As if the bigger something is, the more realistic it is.
They were huge.
How big were they?
They were probably about the size of. I'm holding up a a Palmer's cocoa butter formula. There are probably about
Like, nobody knows what that is.
What?
Nobody
everybody
knows what that is.
who's ever had a tattoo knows what this is.
In the last year before, until Bepanthen was overtaken by this new modern
Hanson
nonsense.
is over. It's in the mud. Anyway, 3 in a row, and I felt very sick. That's pretty much the end of the story.
I 2 days ago I ate 3 pasta
In a row?
and I wasn't in Portugal. Yeah, in a row. Yeah, I bought 4 because you can only buy them on Deliveroo from Nando's in a pack of 4 for a tenner. And then I thought I would give one to Frankie Kokoza. He wasn't interested, and then the tour manager, I was like, "Oh, maybe she'll want one." No, I ate 4.
That's
I
very
saved one
similar to what
for
happened
next
to me,
day.
except I didn't actually offer them to anybody else. I just sat and ate them all.
I did have a similar story when I was in Cardiff last week. I went to that place in Mermaid Key that does Welsh cakes, and I got 3 hot, fresh Welsh cakes with chocolate chips dusted in sugar, and I had 1, and I thought I'll give these, but then it was so hot and delicious, I just ate 3, and I ate all of them.
Yeah.
What's wrong with us, man?
Well, not to give the game away, but I think we're going to be back in Pastel del Niata country maybe soon.
Keep your eyes
Keep your
peeled.
Niatas pasteled. But
We eat at Nando's sometimes. Keep your natas crossed.
spent a lot of time on
These guys.
flights, and that gave me a good opportunity to listen to some music.
What you been listening to,
So
bro?
I thought this could be a fun thing for us to chat about. This is why, by the way, we should say the reason that we're doing this more chilled episode is because we've had these crazy tours, and we didn't want to just rush an album episode, so we thought we'd do a more laid back one, and we can chat about maybe some of the new music we're listening to. So I've listened to a bunch of stuff so far this year that I've liked, maybe not so liked. I mean, there was the one that was a hot discourse, which I think we should do a full episode on. But I listened to the Last Dinner Parties album.
Yeah, how did that hit you?
You know, it's all right.
Yeah.
But that's it. And it's often the case with these things. So, for anyone who's not aware of the Last Dinner Party, they are the buzz band right now, you know?
Right now, they're the wet leg of today.
Yep. And they were picked up super early. Like, before they had released their first single, they were opening for Rolling Stones on tour.
That's a little bit of a,
So,
that's what.
and so they
you know,
started...
That's one way of framing it.
There's been a lot of discourse about whether or not they're nepo babies or an industry plant or et cetera, et cetera. So there's, high stakes. Their first album, they're the big buzz band, and some review sites insta tens. The album
Really?
has done pretty well, and then Pitchfork dropped 6.5, I think, maybe lower.
Yeah. The crazy thing about Pitchfork is, I saw somebody in another website go, "Oh look, this band got an 8.0 or something 5 years ago." And the crazy thing about Pitchfork is the writer doesn't do the number. All anybody cares about is the number, but that's what the editor does. The writer writes the whole review, then the editing team go, we've got too many 8.0s this week. That's it. This could maybe be more of 7.2. And then, all the people go, what the fuck's this number about? The fucking writer didn't write the number. So, yeah. That's crazy that the editor was like, okay, let's give him a 6.5.
But, based off the review, the idea, I imagine, is that the number has to match roughly what the review is saying. And the review was saying, look, this is fine. This is fine. It's not worthy of the buzz, which is kind of how I feel about it as well. There are some good songs on there. They're, a pretty charismatic band. They're definite poshos. Hundo P.
Do you know, that whether it's good or bad or whatever, and over the last couple of days I've just been thinking about this and I'm just going, do you know what? Doesn't matter if something's good or bad. I just don't want to hear from posh English people just now.
Yeah.
In my head, I'm listening to stuff and I'm like, do I like this? I don't like this. Whatever. I'm just fed up at that point of view being so dominant in British society. Everything, you look at the podcast charts and stuff, it's all fucking posh cunts, posh cunts, posh cunts, posh cunts. And I just feel like, very similar in my firebombing campaign on the Chortle editor's house, I just want to start setting cunts on fire. And listen, I'm just fed up of that being the dominant
It's
point of view.
It's
that is
monocultural, isn't it?
across.
It's like
In Britain, yes, and it's such a grim zombie country that's fucking collapsing.
But I was
in on
saying that the
itself.
podcast awards, I mean, it's me, you, Kathy Burke, Amy Gledhill, and Ian Smith. I mean, there's no posh.
Might as well be the fucking club podcast awards, man. You know?
Yeah. So that's it. It's like when you do get nominated for something, is I don't want it, but then when other people do, you
Yeah.
go, oh, you're posh.
Do you know what? See if you're heading to Steve's house with a Molotov cocktail. Go back to your own
Yeah.
house and pour it down the
Yeah.
drain, because he's actually alright with his podcast. Must have been Jay Richardson or something that picked that good boy.
Justin Hawkins posted about the last dinner party. He did a video about him, did he? Where he said, well, if this is an industry plant, I want the industry to plant more stuff like this. I would say, though, we've chatted about industry plants before. It's something that we see in comedy as well. And now, I think people think that there is this big, shady sort of, organization that sit around and they give someone the anointed finger. But it doesn't really work like that. What's more likely, the actual, story here is that an agent of some description, a record producer, has seen a band and realized correctly that they are perfect for the current cultural climate. So I mean, what you have is 5 talented, attractive young women who can play sort of Fleetwood Mac-esque rock music.
Kate Bushy and stuff. And some of the lyrics are really cool. Like, I was listening to one of the songs and there was a wee thing and it was like, listen to Red Scare, and I was like, wow, a wee kind of mention of a podcast.
And so,
I feel seen right now.
Because of that, because of it being just very, perfect for the current zeitgeist, everybody else who works in the same industry goes, oh, well, we'll get them on our thing. Oh, well, we'll get them on our thing. Well, we'll get them on our thing. And it's like the momentum just snowballs. So it's not the girls' fault either.
No, it's not the girls' fault.
And what are they going to do? They're going to say, oh, no, we haven't actually been doing the music circuit for 10 years, so actually other people deserve it. Of course not. Of course not. No. But when you listen to it, you go, well, this is fine. This is there's a reason that this is only fine. It's because they haven't done all that.
A bit eggy.
It's a bit eggy.
That's a phrase I heard somebody. I was worried about doing a new show at a certain date, and someone said, "Well, you don't want your stuff to be eggy," and I was like, "Yeah, when you make a cake and it just doesn't have long enough, and it's just a wee bit eggy," and I think you get that a lot with people who get pushed to the moon and then they bring their first thing out.
Yeah.
I'm so thankful that I was skint for, my entire life and I've never had any success because it's, it's built up a callus on my skin. Much like a pastel de nata has that little scabby bit at the top, and that's how I feel.
Not a good example, because pastel de nata is very eggy.
Incredibly eggy.
It's the whole idea of it.
Perfectly.
It's the whole idea of it. It's eggy.
And in that sense, I would say that I haven't listened to the whole album, but what I've heard of Last Dinner Party, I think I know what they're serving for dessert at that Last Dinner Party, and it's a lovely big tray of pastel de nata.
The other zeitgeisty thing at the moment. Yeah, so...
And let's just clarify, we are in a group chat with some other comedians, and they did not believe that the pastel de nata was having a hot moment, and I think now... Are you ready to apologise on their behalf?
I'm not going to speak for other people in a group chat. I don't think that's fair.
Okay.
It's
not fair.
It's not something I want to get involved with. Out of interest, and because I thought we might cover them, we still might. I did some quick research to see if they were secret post shows. Now,
secret post show. You do it fast and it feels like not show. Got nobody. You got not supposed secret post show.
But so the thing is that they have been asked a few times now, because it has been this discourse. People have said to them, oh, what do you think about this industry plant on Nepo baby stuff? And they're always like, none of our dads have blue names on Wikipedia,
Yeah, which is something I thought I invented that slagging. Obviously I've just picked it up somewhere.
Yeah, but it's but then it's never followed up with my dad's a butcher. It's then just not mentioned.
Well, that's what I mean. You know, obviously, you know, they're not nepo babies, but that I'm just fed up of.
They're posh English girls,
That
100 piece. So
up with posh
I think most of them went to,
English
I think it was King's in London, which is fine. That's just a normal good uni. But then a couple of them went to Guildhall School of Music and Drama, which you'll remember from the Black Country New Road episode. And
Like ants from up here. or
yeah, so
whatever.
they're kind of like musical theatre freaks. And actually, when listening to the album, if you've heard Black Country New Road, you can definitely hear that in it. It's like Black Country New Road without.
The chops.
Well,
The
they're just
proggy
doing
chops.
something a bit different, but there is definitely you can see. So now I'm thinking, well, maybe there's a new industry thing going on where you have some fucking record producer who knows someone at Guildhall Drama School, who's like, right, give me the next hot thing. Give me the next hot thing.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway,
And it is also just a case of a bunch of posh freaks drinking in the same bars and shagging the same people, and you know, it's just. It's like when we were talking about Laura Marlin and Mumford and Sons, and who was it we were talking about? Where all these cunts were coming up as?
I can't remember.
As recently, it was like Mumford and Sons, the Laura Marlin, Noah and the Whale,
Yeah.
and they all went to uni together. And I'm just fed up at the cultural zeitgeist in this country being determined by these posh
Yeah.
freaks. Do you know what I mean? I want other voices leading us, not directly to this point. Hopefully, I want to talk about other music that's came out recently. But one thing that's refreshing about the Smiths and Johnny Marr's career, we will be getting to Johnny
Yeah,
Marr.
we'll touch that at the end.
Eventually, but one thing that's refreshing about that is that it is proper working class music about being working class.
Well, I mean, speaking of working class musicians, Little Sims dropped an EP the other week. Are you a
Oh,
fan
yeah?
of Little Sims?
Never listened to them. I've heard they're
my
very
God.
good.
So I first listened to Little Sims when she dropped the Grey Area a few years ago. That was another EP. And
Can I do a wee joke? Actually, can you ask me again if I've ever heard of Lil Sims?
you ever heard of Little Sims?
Well, I had the expansion pack Sims Unleashed. If you know what I'm saying. Sorry, go
about-
ahead.
Just us doing Simlish for a bit. So Lil Sims dropped a new EP. She's pretty prolific, man. She puts out stuff, and it's always of a really, really high standard. She's an incredibly talented young woman. She was in Top Boy, fantastic drama show. Did you watch that?
This is what I'm talking about. I'm not getting enough non-posh stuff in my head. I need to be hearing about this type of stuff. You need to pass on your Dagenham London street knowledge to me,
So
I think.
Top Boy was I remember when it first came out on Channel 4 years ago. Maybe you don't know this story. Because there's something that you're going to really
Were you in Top Boy?
No, I would love to be.
Oh.
I can tell you haven't seen Top Boy if you're asking if I've been in it. I'm not sure I fit in. So it came out. It was on Channel 4 years ago. Really good show. Kano, you know Kano, the grime artist.
The
Oh
rapper.
man,
Yeah.
he's fucking sick. He's in it, and there was 2 series, and it was sort of like every now and then you'll get people say, "Oh, it's like the British Wire," right? It's not really, but it was like a cool, gritty gang drama that seemed a bit more based in. You could tell the people who had written it had some sort of like background in the gangs of London, right? Rather than a sort of
Being a roadman.
sure. So there was 2 series. I thought it was really, really good. And then a third one just never got commissioned. It never happened, right? And then Canadian superstar Drake.
Yeah. Running through the 6 with my walls.
He watched the show, right? But he was watching it on like YouTube. You know, back when YouTube had like, it would be like Top Man episode 3, part 1 or
Yeah.
4. He was watching it in that, and then it finished. And he was like, why is it finished? So he phoned the producers, who then
Whoa.
phoned Netflix and was like, we got to get a new series of Top Boy. So Drake is directly responsible for Top Boy going to Netflix, and
I know when my hotline bling, that can only mean one thing. Drake wants to
yeah.
be a executive producer on this project.
So Lil Sims is in that. My partner, who is not really a big hip hop head, is crazy into Little Sims. Been to see her live. We have some of her vinyls.
A few people have said that she's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I'm not sure what it is about the crossover appeal. I mean, she's a very talented rapper, and she draws her inspiration beat-wise from many different things, which I think is probably interesting. Also, I mean, she doesn't have that rapping thing, which is sometimes like there is a focus on like speed. And like lyrical dexterity, which can be impenetrable, which doesn't really do that. Like she,
No, I think the slowness. It's interesting though. I mean, I think because you either have to be white or slow. Do you know what I mean? Like Eminem was really
I'm both,
fast.
baby.
Yeah, mentally, I'm both. But that's funny. But yeah, I remember Danny Brown talking about Kanye West when My Dark Beautiful Twisted Fantasy came out, and he was like, "I'm just not into it. It's too slow." And I can see why people like it because people like slow, understandable hip hop. But I'm a fast guy.
Well, she has a new EP, so it's not a full album. It's only 15 minutes, so I didn't notice. I put it on when I was in the gym, and I ended up listening to it like 3 times in a row. But it'll be a very good entry point for Lil Sims. But the Grey Area is still my favorite of hers.
Would you like to cover Lil Sims in an episode?
I think we should.
At some point?
I think we should for a number of reasons. Because first off, our hip hop, we don't do enough hip hop. But I imagine maybe the EP is a sort of semi-tease for an album coming out later in the year. I wouldn't be surprised by that. She's done it before. So yeah, I would love to cover Little Sims at some point. Highly recommended. If you're like me, someone who's not that much, doesn't listen to as much hip hop as maybe they would like to, then that would be something that I would check out as well. I've also. Oh wait, what am I talking about? Am I telling you? I'm telling you news rather than what I've been listening to.
Do you want to hear what I've been into?
Well, let's finish the news first, then I'll tell you some more stuff that I've been listening to. Okay?
Okay.
Because there's other music news that is exciting.
Oh yeah.
New Vampire Weekend was dropped this week. 2 songs came out. Gen X Cops. That's such a vampy weekend name. You know what I mean? And what's the other one called? But yeah, so that means the album's coming out later this year. They'll be touring. I mean, I know you're a big Vampire Weekend head as well. How you feeling?
I listened to a snippet on Instagram of the music. I haven't listened to the full song. It seems a lot noisier. Seems a lot more kind of, the album covers like on a train. And you're like, whoa, these guys are in the fucking city.
They're in the city. Gen X Cops, Capricorn is the other one. Capricorn is it's more like a classic Vampire Weekend song. I think that little snippet was maybe slightly misrepresentative of what the album's going to be. Because I don't think it'll be a noise album. But the Gen X Cops thing, oh my God. It's got this fucking insane, loud, Strokes-esque riff at the top that sounds crazy. Now these guys, when this album comes out, we have to cover. These guys are posh little kids, aren't they? Who have been accused of cultural appropriation.
Yeah, but I've also heard it for their point of view, which is, well, at the time, music was the Strokes, so it was little posh guys dressed up in leather jackets pretending they were punks. Do you know what I mean? Even though punks also originally were.
Well, so in that way, they were punks, I suppose.
Yes, but then they were saying, well, we come from the exact same background as all these bands, but we are dressing in Ralph Lauren
shoes.
Yeah, because we're being honest. And I don't have an issue with posh people who are like, fucking, we are posh. Do you know what I mean? It's when someone tries to hide it, hence secret posh.
That's interesting because about, I'm going to say, 6 to 7 minutes ago, you were saying how tired you were of the monoculture being run by posh freaks, and now yes. With Vampire Weekend, you're like, but these guys are good.
Well, these guys are good because they put their first albums out when I was a little soft-brained monkey boy when I was 13, and my first band, we never had a name. I think we were called the Small Hands, is what I suggested we'd be called, and people went up for it. We covered A-Punk. Hard bass line, but I nailed it.
Ezra Koenig of Vampire Weekend was spotted at Kenilworth Road. Who plays at Kenilworth Road? This is a
football connection! We got a football connection!
Yeah.
Football connection!
Kenilworth Road, where so it's not just Ezra Koenig who was there. It was interesting. So, Matt, In fact, you should Google Kenilworth Road right now, right? And look at the homestand because
Me or the
you should.
listener?
So Luton Town play there, right? And
Okay.
they've been lower league for a very long time, and then they accidentally got promoted last year. The entrance to one of their stands is in a row of houses in London. It looks fucking crazy. Have a look.
It's weird. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
10-metre dilemma at Kenilworth Road.
So
Yeah, it's like a terraced block houses, and then it says Oak Stand.
yeah, it's cool, right? That's pretty cool. So they were playing Manchester United the other day, and the camera kept going into the stand because Harry Styles was there watching the game, presumably as a Manchester United fan. But what the camera didn't realise was that in front of him was Ezra Koenig of Vampire Weekend. I'm guessing the football commentators on Sky News are not fans of Vampire Weekend because they knew Harry Styles, but they didn't know Ezra Koenig.
That really speaks to what's wrong with Sky.
Particularly
Yeah.
the football punditry. It's like, have you guys done the background work on Naughty's indie music from New York?
I don't think they have at all, man, because what they don't know about modern vampires of the
Doesn't
city.
sound like it.
You know?
That doesn't sound like it.
They don't listen to Ezra Koenig's podcast.
I went to see
Time
Vampire
Crisis.
Weekend at Usher Hall.
Oh.
And they took requests, which is very cool. You don't see bands where they do that, but they ended by going, any requests? And then people just shouted their favourite Vampire Weekend songs, and they played like 3 or 4 of them. It was really cool.
Why had they not played them already?
Well, they can't play.
They've
Well,
all...
they can't play all their songs.
Yeah, I guess actually.
You know what I mean? That'd be crazy.
I seen some people say, "Oh, Rostam."
Excuse
you
me?
know, Rostam.
Rostam? What are you saying?
The old keyboard player. Rostam.
But you need to
You know
say
him?
more. I don't know what you're saying. Yeah. I heard people say Rostam. Okay. Next section, I guess. What do you mean?
People say, well, he left the band.
Right.
He left to do his own. He's done his own synth pop project that wasn't very. It didn't set the world on fire. But some people were saying, "Well, this new record just goes to show he was a real star behind Vampire Weekend."
No, I really liked their last album, actually. I mean, look,
Father of the
is
Bride.
it as good as Modern Vampires of the City? Probably not. Or Contra, which I also really love. Prob's not.
What's your favourite Vampire Weekend song?
I love Step.
Every time I see you in the well, you always step to my girl.
Yeah, love that. Love that.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Ariel Reichstad is the producer on that album, and he done a great job.
But yeah, so we may do a full Vamp Weekend album when that drops.
Are you not going to ask me what my favourite Vampire Weekend song is?
Come on, because you're going to tell us anyway. So come on, then.
It was a diplomat son. It was anyone. Oh, 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 oh. I think that's a cool bit.
They're a cool band. They're cool guys. And it was really through them that I actually first started listening to Graceland, I think, because of that whole discussion.
Paul Simon's apartheid ignoring.
I don't know
music.
about that. That's a little bit of an unfair criticism. You know, he got.
What's the thing? The what was it called? The anti-apartheid movement. It was like BDS, but for South Africa. It was that thing. It was a big deal back when.
Yeah, I think the difference is,
You know what I'm saying?
you weren't supposed to play in apartheid South Africa. Queen did, but
Shout out
to Queen. But then they were like, "Oh, Paul Simon is breaking it," but I'm like, "Well, no, he's playing with the artists who are being mistreated by apartheid.
Sure.
He gave Lady Blacksmith and Barzo, a break. And
Yeah.
I've always been saying, will you give Lady Blacksmith and Barzo a break? Somebody?
Lady Smith Black Mambazo, I believe her name.
What did I say?
Something similar but
Something
different.
similar but different. So did you watch? Did you see any of the Grammys? Because I saw a lot of discourse this week about Tracy Chapman.
I saw a really funny thing about Tracy Chapman, which was some right-wing freak going, do you know what's cool about Tracy Chapman? She didn't dress up for the Grammys. She just went out there in a shirt and jeans and boots. And she wasn't dolled up with makeup.
Yeah.
She was real. And then somebody was like, if you actually know anything about clothes, she was wearing a custom $3,500 Gucci shirt. But, you know, she's butch. She's like a butch gay woman.
You
And,
got a fast car.
You got a fast car. Also seen some mad discourse that was like, I know we don't have a podcast where we just bring up stupid things.
Well,
people
we
say
do
that
this
are
week.
like,
That's what we're doing this week.
We do this week.
I think I know the
But,
tweet that you're going to talk about, where it was just someone said that there is more heartbreak in the lyrics of this song than there are in most novels. That's what I
No,
saw, and I was
that's
like,
bad,
"Wow,
isn't it?
have you ever read a book?"
More heartbreak in this song than the entirety of the Darren Shan vampire books, if you ask me. The Darren Shan Circus of Evil vampire books that you got in Borders in 2007, if you were me.
Yeah, I don't know what that is, but
All right, look up Darren Shan if you want to.
not gonna do that.
Get
What was the
that
crazy
type of
thing you saw?
stuff.
You know what it is? Sorry to interrupt, but it's once again. It's if you only consume slop, then every now and then, when something actually good breaks through,
Yeah.
of course you think it's the best thing that's ever existed because you all
Sure.
you eat is just processed slop, and then one day you're the 15th century peasant eating a Dorito, and it's fucking
Yeah.
mind blowing. You never had E numbers
Yeah.
before. Now you're having E numbers. Okay. Now I will say that I do think Fast Car is culturally more significant than the Dorito, or at least I think it is.
I don't like Doritos, but it's like giving a fucking 1200s peasant a pastel de nata, you know.
Yeah. You know what? I think that probably might have happened. How old is the pastel de nata? When was that invented?
Dude, I think it's pretty new. Somebody told me that pizza is like only from the last 100 years, and I'm like, why nobody done that until recently? That's something I heard, man.
Pastel.
Don't know how you feel about that.
Nata.
When did they start getting made? My theory, the 1800s.
Bro. This guy knows his pastel de natas. Let me tell you that right now. Pastel de nata were created before the 18th century. Oh, you said in the 1800s. It's actually before the 18th century.
No, but 18th is the next. Remember how we are in the 21st century right now?
Before, yeah. So it's actually even more before it.
Oh, no.
By Catholic monks at the Hieronymites, the Hieronymites,
The Hiroshima Centre
Monastery
for Pastel de
in the
Natas.
civil parish of St Mary of Bethlehem in Lisbon. So
So the 1700s.
So you could be a 1700 peasant and have had a pastel de
That's
nata,
it.
but I will take
Imagine
those.
1,000 years before that. 1,000
But then
years
I
before
still
that.
think that probably would have been a mind-blowing experience for you. And that
Yeah.
would have been the equivalent of these dum-dums listening to Tracy Chapman sing with Luke Combs.
Imagine going up to pre-Highland clearances, Highlands of Scotland, and you're in some fucking croft. And what's that called? One of those wee places that you can sleep in, if in Scotland. It's like a bothy.
Bothy.
Imagine it's fucking 1 a.m. All these cunts are sleeping in a bothy, strangers to each other in the dark. One guy's farting, haggis farts. You knock on the door. Somehow you're a time traveller from the 1700s and you have a tray of steaming pastel de natas straight from a Portuguese pastry shop.
Yeah.
You're going to fry there, soon to be clearance
And they will
heads.
say stupid things like, wow, there is more flavour packed in this pastel de nata than there is the entirety of the Bible or something. And you're like, well, that's a stupid thing to say, but of course, you are a stupid person. So, and she was singing with Luke Combs. I'm going to say this, right?
Combs.
I don't really know much about Luke Combs. But I am finding myself attaching a certain level of disdain
Ooh.
to anybody who thinks he's good. And I have to say,
Right,
I haven't
fuck.
heard it. I don't know it. But there is a certain type of person who seems to really love it, who I think probably doesn't know what they're talking about.
Can you describe that type of
Basic.
person? I don't know who you're
I'm just
talking
seeing a
about.
lot of incredibly basic
people.
people say, can't wait to see Luke Combs this weekend. Blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, if you like it, I'm out.
Who would you say is the country equivalent to? Who else is that level of basic that you're talking about there?
Interesting.
Is he like a southern fried Harry Styles, or is he like a not got the sexual dynamism?
No.
of Harry
It's more like it's definitely more Boise than that. So it's not like
Right.
Taylor basic.
Boise from Only Fools and Horses.
No, it'd be more like Liam Gallagher's Noel Gallagher's
Right,
High Flying
okay.
Birds or something.
I can't. Oh, okay. So he's like a kind of hayride version of.
As I said,
John
this
Squire.
is really quite ludicrous of me to give such a hot take when I can't be clearer. I have not listened to it, but from the type of person who seems to like him, there's the type of person who looks at Transmit lineup and go, "Wow, they've done it again."
Yeah. Imagine taking some Pasto Dunatas down to Transmit and blowing some minds.
Fucking hell, man, that's fucking nice.
I seen that in Nando's, but I thought, fuck that, man. It's fucking that's fucking shite, man.
Listen, if there's
I
one
only eat
thing,
things my dad ate.
there's one thing Transmit needs less of, it's natties. I mean, Jesus Christ.
Okay. What the thing I seen about Tracy Chapman was somebody was saying, "Wow, fast car." Just goes to show you what materialism has
fuck.
done. That she wants a nice fast car, and it's like, what are you
my
talking?
God.
What is the story in Fast Car? It's like a woman who she was at university and dropped out to look after her.
Yeah, they're living in the
boyfriend who doesn't have a
projects and
job.
like things are getting really, really tough. And then like she's like, let's just run away. Let's just get out.
Let's just get out of here.
And then we've got each other, and that's all we need. It's beautiful. But
It's like an epic gay anthem of escape.
yeah, and people are like, wow, she just wants a
Oh.
Ferrari. Interesting.
So you want a Lambo?
You got a
I fucking want to drive a Lambo over the person who tweeted that's head. I'll tell you that much.
It is a beautiful song, but like, calm down.
It's an incredible song. It's just one of those perfect 10 out of 10 songs that just speaks
Speaking
to
of
people.
Luke Combs, there's been a bit of country news as well. In that it feels like I actually feel like maybe the rise of your Luke Combs and your Garth Crooks.
Garth Crooks.
Who's Garth Crooks? I think he's a footballer.
Garth Crooks
He
doesn't
does
exist.
exist. I think he's right. I think I fucked.
Garth Crooks is like an evil robber version of Garth Brooks.
Garth Crooks is an English football pundit and former professional player. He played for Stoke City, Tottenham Hotspur. He's a piece of TV pundit.
Right, okay. Fuck's sake. Yeah, I think the rise of Luke Combs and Garth Crooks together, that to me is just an interwoven lattice of culture.
Fuck, man, I can't believe. Oh, there's a whoever knows who he is listening to this and they're having a right good chuckle right now. Let me tell you at that mess up. That's a classic right there. Garth Brooks.
Garth Crooks, if you're listening, get in touch. We'll work something out.
If Garth Crooks is listening, he's having the same experience I had when I was walking home from the stand the other night, and he did not expect to be spoken about, and here he is. No, the rise of Luke Combs and Garth Brooks and etc. etc.
I think you've got the wrong person. Garth Brooks he was huge in the 90s. He's like 70 now. He released his last album exclusively in fishing shops, like bass fishing
right.
shops. You could only buy his new record as a box set with like tackle.
Who is the guy who?
Zach Bryan, you thinking of?
No. Who's a giant country star who he played in Ireland in Crow Park and like sold out?
Oh, I was there. I wasn't at the gig. That was Garth Brooks.
Right, that's who I mean.
Right, yeah. But he's been gone for ages.
Yeah, okay. But I guess what I'm trying to say is that there has been a sort of industry pivot to country that has been maybe manufactured a little bit because it's like, hey, this is... Remember when everyone was doing dubstep? Well, now everyone's going to do country for a bit.
Do you know, obviously, I've been
Britney
getting
Spears
into
did a
recently.
dubstep album. Korn did a dubstep album. And now...
Britney Spears done a dubstep album before Burial, as we
And
both know.
so now Lana and Beyonce are releasing country tracks So and you think that's gonna be the first one? Of course not. Taylor obviously has a country background, as does Miley.
Yeah. I was last night discussing CMAT down the pub, as you were, you know, with CMAT. Not with CMAT,
I was just down the pub
CMAT.
with CMAT last night.
I was actually just down the pub discussing
I was down the
CMAT
pub
recently.
with Beer Matt last night.
Okay. I was and somebody was like, I just think she's too country. She's got too much twang in her to really be a megastar. And I was like, the biggest pop star in the world is Taylor Swift, and Lana Del Rey's putting out Lasso. Beyonce's putting out
She's
things.
putting out. It's the soundtrack to Ted Lasso that she's making.
Yeah, her album is also going to get incredibly shite in series 2. Nick Mohammed? Why did they make Nick Mohammed's character evil? Not shitting on Nick Mohammed, fellow Chorto award nominee Nick Mohammed. Not shitting on him at all. Very funny performer, great comedian. But why did they make him evil?
Well, do you want to know why?
Yeah.
When the first series of Ted Lasso, the whole arc throughout the series is this guy's really annoying because he's so nice, and everyone around him is like really cynical, and they're driven by other things other than just being nice. And then slowly,
Right.
the joy of the series is watching Ted change. All these people change despite themselves, and then achieve the results that Ted can get. Once you've got to that point, everybody's just nice. So and then there's no conflict. So there's nothing to do. So you have to have somebody change or someone new come in to introduce conflict so that the drama happens. And the problem is that you can't really buy it after that. Although plenty of people did, because as we've discussed earlier in this episode, most people are idiots.
Yeah, big slop hungry freaks out there. Well, obviously I've been getting into country recently. My cowboy hat is somewhere around me, and I've been listening to playing guitar, and
You've been listening to playing guitar.
yeah, I've been listening to playing guitar. I got a Hank
It's
Williams
the sort of thing
record.
that someone who has a music podcast might say. I've been listening to playing guitar. What?
Yeah, I've been listening to / playing guitar.
Oh, you've been playing guitar is what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. I thought you meant you were listening to a guitar album. Hayden Pedigo.
Well, I do. I love Hayden Pedigo,
Yeah.
who's on tour in Europe right now.
Zurich?
He's playing Zurich. I'd imagine he's playing Porto. He's playing Athens. God. Anyway, do you know? Have I let you in on my theory as to why the world is shifting to the cowboy aesthetic?
Please, I mean, I've got a cowboy tattoo recently, so you're not wrong.
Listen, this is a little bit of what's known as being really clever, or hearing something on a podcast and then repeating it as if I've said it. Hopefully now other people can hear me say it and they repeat it and they say it's smart. During times of financial hardship, people retreat towards traditional modes of masculinity. This is why during the financial crash of the noughties, everybody started wearing flannel shirts and started, jam jars and stuff. You know, it was a retreat to authenticity. It was a retreat to like old school shit, because, you know, when you live in this world which is so fucked right now, especially in Britain, do you know what I mean? Our country is fried, man. Like, there's no stability. It's hard to get on the housing market. It's hard to have kids. It's hard to fucking get out of bed in the morning 'cause it's so depressing. You need these building blocks of masculinity, and that's what trad country gives people. Is people see the cowboy hat and they go, I know what that means.
So,
You be a good person. You're male.
to follow this theory
You're
through
tough.
to its natural end, at some point there'll be a recession, and you will see like caveman core.
That's what I'm banking on.
Yeah, people wearing loincloths and calling each other Ugg.
I think that will. I've started collecting bones.
Yep.
So
Doing
that
cave
when
paintings
the time comes.
in feces on the walls.
Me and Liam are going to Portugal
say-
to go to the ancient caves and do some paintings on the walls of their own shit. And I'm so excited.
When the
eat
doctors
a
ask
pasta
us
dognata.
what's going on, we say this is actually a reaction to the world. We are reclaiming traditional forms of masculinity. Now, if you could leave me and my friend alone, we need to go and hunt a leopard to eat for dinner.
Well, I can't actually wait to get to the point where traditional masculinity, in between cowboys and cavemen, when are we going to get to like feudal
Yeah,
knights?
that's cool.
I want to be a I want chainmail,
Can't wait
man.
to turn
I want
on
a flail.
ASOS and see like a chainmail vest being worn by someone who you can see
I
as.
think that's going to happen.
You think a chainmail vest is
I think chainmail's going to come into fashion. Yeah. What are we talking about?
who fucking knows?
Talking about Beyonce and Lana Del Rey are both coming out with country records, and I'm excited. And I think honestly, the cultural pivot was Old Town Road by Lil Nas X.
Yeah. No, there's it.
That was the first time I was like, oh, cunts are talking about cowboy shit, man.
Love that guy. He's very
I'm
funny.
gonna take my horse to the Old Town Road. I'm gonna ride till I can't.
What accent are you doing?
You're like, that was like kind of cowboy.
No, that was like Welsh.
Was it? What? Is it a Welsh
Well,
accent?
what you just did, it was really bizarre. I don't know what you were doing.
Well, listen back. It's a point. Sorry.
So Garth Crooks was born in
Garth Crooks.
Stoke-on-Trent. Is of Jamaican descent.
No
he
bullshit.
progressed through the youth ranks at Stoke City before signing a professional contract in 1976. Made his debut at home to Coventry City, becoming the first black player to play for Stoke since Roy Brown in the 1940s. So that's a Garth Crooks update for you there. How long we've been talking? Let's have a quick chat on some of the stuff I've been listening to recently, and then that's us. So I keep an eye on what's coming out and try and listen to some new stuff that maybe I haven't heard of. And I tell you what I listened to recently that is actually I think brings up something interesting. I saw a sort of glowing review of a band called Crawlers. You heard this?
Oh yeah. I was following them on Instagram today. I was just scrolling, and it must have been a BBC Radio 6.
So here's what's interesting, right? I just saw a review, and I actually just saw like the stars or the number, and I saw it described as like modern rock or rock and roll or something. So that's all I needed. I just went, well, I'm looking for a band. I put that on. So I didn't know what they looked like. I didn't know what the sound was supposed to be. I put it on.
Yeah.
And I thought it was quite good. It was like she had the lead has a really great voice, and it is like sort of a bit sort of gothic rock, but not that much. It's just like a sort of heavier indie band.
Mm-hmm.
I thought these guys are quite good. Then I looked them up, and I think it's interesting how the aesthetics of a band dictate so much about their audience and who they're marketed to, and what you like about them. Because they're like a emo kind of looking band. They're wearing like they wear steampunk clothes. The woman's wearing like a top hat and these goggles, and they look
Wow.
like they hang out at CEX on a Sunday.
Yeah. That would be no offense. What I know about you, that would be an issue for you.
Yeah. And this is why I bring it up, because I'm questioning. I'm like, well, I liked the music, but I think it's interesting that it's like if you saw them, the music that they're making is not necessarily what you would think they were making. You would think it'd be much.
Are they ironically embracing the steampunk aesthetic to go, for a photo shoot? How funny it is with steampunk?
I mean,
Or are they genuinely at the steampunk cafe next to where Jesper used to be?
well, I don't really know. I think they are quite pop punky, and maybe it's just in this one video that they've gone for a steampunk vibe. And now I totally misread it. But no, I look at them and they look a lot more like Paramore.
They look like goths. They look like goths. Coburn Street goths.
Yeah, they look like Coburn Street goths, which I was not expecting based on the music, because I don't think the music is that gothy, really. And it reminds me of the discussion we had about My Chemical Romance when where I said correctly that they were emo and you disagreed. And it's just interesting that
Garth Crooks, is he emo?
but the album is great. I enjoyed it. I would recommend it. It is called The Mess We Seem to Make, and they had this huge hit called Come Over Again, which basically I think is the reason they got signed. It got like 5 million plays because it was like a big TikTok song.
Right,
Which is like a new phenomenon now. Basically, much like a comedian, you can go viral off, and then that can launch a career. But no, they're good. I was listening to that whilst I was traveling around, and I also listened to Sprints. I think we spoke about that.
You're a big Sprints head, yeah. You like that Irish post-punk vibe.
Band, different than Fontaine's DC in the Murder Capital in that they have a woman. Very interesting stuff.
Pretty good for Ireland.
I
love Ireland, right? But it some people act as if it's like perfect, and you're like, it was a theocracy, and now it's a techocracy. Do you know what I mean? So,
I was just saying that down at the pub last night
to see Matt.
to see that.
Well, I say that to see Matt with Bob, Matt. What do you think?
And Brittany Howard's new record as well I listened to, which is really cool, kind of like psychedelic soul.
She was in the Alabama Shakes, wasn't she?
Yeah, and this is
her last 2 records have been absolute bangers.
This is a solo album, and it's really good. It's really fun, and she's great. I would like to maybe cover that as a full episode or any of these so far, but just in terms of these are like 3. Hey, if you're looking for new music, these have the Enjoy an Album stamp of approval as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, I'm going to hit you with some albums. Very much on that fucking CMAT / Last Dinner Party / Sprints / Crawlers vibe.
Vape. All these artists releasing vapes?
They all have signature vape flavours that are available on the Lost Mary brand. Okay. No, there was a band I've listened to on Six Music called New Dad.
Oh, I listened to them this morning because they came up on my day list, and I was in the gym working out. It's something I do. Don't want to make a big
nice.
deal out of it. And I was lifting something heavy, and I was.
What happened to you lifting to fucking heavy metal? Now you're lifting weights to teenage fucking buzz bands from Ireland.
Well, I actually tried to mix it up a bit. So I just put on my day list today at the gym, and it was like an indie mix, and it had New Dad on, and I thought that's quite a funny band name as well. That kind of fits in a bit with like your personal trainer
sports
and maths
team.
teacher and sports team and all that.
Is there a band called Personal Trainer?
Yes, Personal Trainer is a band. Very funny name for a band, I think.
It's hard to Google.
Yeah, it's.
I'd imagine a lot of personal trainers asking you to, text dinner plan to me for this amount of money or something. Do you know what I mean?
But yeah, no, I liked the song. I thought this is good. New Dad. You've listened to their album, have you?
Yeah, honestly, I like them because I seen them cover The Cure for like a radio station or something, and they done a really good cover of The Cure. I was like, these guys are great. It's just a wee bit. Not going to use the term industry plant because that has sexist connotation. But I was reading the Apple Music, and one of them was like, this Irish band. It reminded me of something CMAT said, where she was defending Last Dinner Party, and she said that, it's interesting. I think they're getting accused of being an industry plant because they're posh and English, whereas nobody ever accuses Irish bands of being industry plant because there is a Anglo-centric, Hiberniophobic fucking impulse where you think, well, there's no way anybody Irish could ever be posh because they're all rolling around in the mud over there as if, fucking Trinity University and D4 and all this shit doesn't exist. Obviously, you have posh West Brit fucking Irish posh people. And just the idea of a new band of teenagers making posh punk, posh post-punk, and like they're having like you know, songwriters, teaming up with songwriters who work with Ed Sheeran and Lana Del Rey for this new band. It's like, see, if you're a teenager, I just want to hear you, Raleigh, put it out. It just felt a bit micromanaged, and maybe that's just what music's like these days, but it made me sad.
Oh, okay. Well, I won't investigate them further then, I guess.
No,
I liked the
do.
song.
I mean, I've been writing little reviews on my phone. I was going to share them on the Enjoy an Album Patreon, but I wasn't sure. I didn't want to step on anybody's toes.
My toes remain unstepped. If you'd like to contribute to the Patreon, then that's fantastic.
Here's a wee line. It said, hopefully the wet Warner Brothers accoutrements, ringer-written ballads and an absence of anything frightening or mad get washed away by the second album, but I fear not. Very florid prose coming out of me.
Yeah, absolutely. Unhinged notes app review of the week.
Do you want to hear a more... This one got a 7.5. This was Clandestine Transcendence by Lord Diane. Kind of Lamb of God style vocals, progressive sludge metal. Not much of an X Factor. It was kind of... Oh, this is so stupid to say.
Yeah.
But see, if you're into progressive sludge metal, it was about middle of the road.
Yeah, you middle of the road sludge metal.
Of all the progressive sludge metal bands I've been listening to, they didn't really have anything that kind of stood out.
Yeah. I mean, there's sludge and then there's sludge, you know? That's what I've always said.
Yeah. But it's produced by Cut Blue, who's in Converge and stuff, and perfectly cromulent, I've wrote here.
Perfectly cromulent.
Yeah, and I've said that
Daddy needy
the
drinky.
clean vocals are a bit flat without properly leaning into the camp Dracula pomposity required. I need some kind of music podcast to say this stuff, because I'm reading this out loud and I'm like, what am I on, man? So,
well, speaking of music podcasts, I think we should just wrap up very briefly by telling the listeners what is coming up. We are launching Johnny March, which is starting in March. Actually, it's going to end in April now. We are doing a...
all right, mates, I've came down to the studio to just have a few words. It's me, John. Oh, I mean, we're not recording.
We're not doing video, but for the audio listener, which will be all listeners, Christopher is holding the Johnny Marr biography to the camera and sort of wiggling a bit and then doing his voice. Or I say his voice, a generic Mancunian accent.
A weird Scouse voice when he's not from Liverpool.
Yeah. So that book looks remarkably unread.
Just fresh out the post. I've got another book coming called Mars Guitars.
I watched Mars Attacks last night, so that's been my preparation.
Imagine that Johnny Mars attack where 100 Johnny Mars come down for space and fucking invade America. That would be class.
So we're doing a series of Johnny Marr adjacent bands. So we're going to do at the live show on the 17th of March. We're going to be covering the Meters Murder, I think.
At the live show, Glee Club Glasgow, we are covering Meters Murder. Just listen to it today, not for the first time. This is a life-defining record for me. Meters Murder. I can't wait to fucking do that in the Glee. That's going to be shit hot.
So, but we're not just going to be covering Smith's albums all month. We're going to talk about The Cribs. They had a collab with Johnny Marr.
I think it's Men's Needs, Women's Needs.
Whatever.
Is the name of that album?
Yeah. Ever. Also, you tell me had something to do with the Inception soundtrack.
Hans Zimmer and Johnny Marr collaborated on the Inception soundtrack, so we are doing Men's Needs, Women's Needs, Whatever by The Cribs featuring Johnny Marr. We are doing the Inception soundtrack by Hans Zimmer and Christopher Nolan featuring Johnny Marr. We are doing Modest Mouse, the Ships. We Were Dead Before the Ship Even Sank, and we are doing the Smiths. Meters Murder,
Yes.
And this episode kind of functions as an introduction to Johnny March, which I'm so excited to do.
Yes, so that's going to be really exciting. We get to speak about Johnny Marr for a whole month, but in a way that makes each episode individual and different. I'm really excited about this series. I think it's going to be really great.
What does Johnny Marr mean to you?
Well, the Smiths were a very important band to me, and Morrissey has fucked it by continuing to be a weird old cunt all the time, whereas Johnny Marr has remained cool. And, you know,
Yeah.
post Smith's done all these incredible projects that you've just listed, as well as more.
I mean, we're not even scratching the surface. We could do a Johnny March 2025, 2026.
Maybe we will. Maybe we will.
Maybe we
we'll
will.
be dead by then.
If we're still
Maybe
alive
I'll have
by
a
then. Yeah, I
robot
think-
arse by then. Who knows?
Maybe Beavis and Butt problems will be Beavis and Butt dead.
So I'm hoping to learn a lot more about the man. That is Johnny Marr, and Dee Morrissey, my Smith's knowledge a bit. Although he will obviously come up, especially at the live show. Are you hoping to get anything in particular out of him? I mean, you've already bought these books.
Bought a book. I think I have Meet His Murder. I think I bought it on record recently. So I've got that on vinyl. Can't wait to fucking blast that. No, it's not. I got Strange Ways, Here We Come on vinyl. I'll have to find the Meet His Murder record. And we can, yeah. No, I'm so excited. The music of the Smiths and Johnny Marr's guitar playing, it's like, I'm a guitar player, do you know what I mean? I'm listening to guitar all the time, not just country music. I'm listening to Johnny Marr's guitar, and I've never been able to play like him. Like, I just think he's such a stylist and such a fucking incredible guy. Like, what I will try and, like, my hot take on Johnny Marr, it's not even a hot take, it's just something I noticed, is that he is the ultimate sideman. And he needs a strong, frontman, yeah, to, like, base it around.
He's a Squidward and he's a SpongeBob. Don't we all?
Don't wait, bloody hell. I would say also preliminarily if you listen to this, I would say check out the Blind Boy interview with Johnny Marr live in Manchester from a couple of months ago. Honestly, just thrilling. And that's really what got me fucking revved up to talk about Johnny Marr for a whole month.
Fantastic. Well, I'm really looking forward to it as well. I'm really looking forward to the live show. Can't wait for that. I've really enjoyed this Enjoying Album After Dark episode tonight. It may return at some point later in the year when both of our respective lives turned upside down by the touring schedules of being a club comedian. One of the best club comedians in the country. Thanks very much. Oh, you meant yourself. Okay.
Are we still firebombing Steve Bennett's house, or is that not happening?
I have nothing to do with that. From a legal standpoint, I just want to draw a line.
No, I have nothing to do with it either.
We're not filming the episode, so that wink will go it's not unrecorded. The unrecorded wink. The new album From the Smile. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this episode. I've certainly have.
If you're going to come into the comments and moan about it not being a real episode, before you do that, shut up.
If you could,
I don't care.
Shut the fuck up for once, please.
If you enjoyed it, that's class. Please let us know.
Please do say that.
If you have any.
Okay, right. Have a wonderful week, and we'll see you next time for the beginning of Johnny March. Love you. Bye.
Johnny March, it comes sooner every year.